Hey guys, thanks for coming out here. I thought I would spend some time talking a little bit about some of the mysteries of Chinese medicine, and today it's going to be phlegm. Now, before we get started, I want to go over my general disclaimer that all the information in this video is for your entertainment and education purposes only. You should always talk with your healthcare provider about your unique situation. Now, if you've been seeing an acupuncturist or Chinese medical provider, you've probably heard of phlegm. Phlegm is a common word in Chinese medicine and a common source of poor health. As we get older, our body slows down and phlegm becomes more widespread throughout the body. And for Chinese medicine, phlegm is a significant source of the major diseases of aging, such as cancers, heart attacks, and strokes. So what is phlegm and how does it relate to you and your health? Well, you've heard about qi, and one definition of qi is energy. Qi or energy flows throughout the body, creating things like heat and electrical impulses. Nerves have electrical charges that cause movement and metabolism in the body. Cells regenerate due to the energy of ATP in the body. That energy helps create heat in the body, which keeps us warm. So there is this energy in the body, and as long as it's moving, everything is fine. What happens when something disrupts the movement of energy? Say a virus, as in the flu. One of the things that happens with the flu virus is that the lungs, the mucous membranes, start producing more mucus. And you notice the congestion in your lungs, you might have a runny nose, and you may cough up this mucus. Now, that congestion, the runny nose, and what you cough up, that's all phlegm. Now, the flu is a unique situation for phlegm because phlegm doesn't usually happen that quickly. Phlegm is what happens after everything else has happened in the body. In Chinese medicine, they say that phlegm is created by a disruption in the movement of fluids in the body. So let's go back to qi and energy and the movement of fluids in the body. In order to change how those fluids move, you have to change how the energy that's moving the fluids moves. And let's call the fluids water because it's easier to visualize. Here in the Pacific Northwest, I love that I can sit next to the Columbia River and feel the energy as the water moves past me to the ocean. So, if you're thinking about how you can change how fluids move, examples from nature can help identify ways this can happen in the body. So in times of drought, there's less water, kind of like when you're dehydrated. And in times of flooding, water overflows the banks, like swelling or congested fluids. And here in the Pacific Northwest, trees fall into the river and float downstream all the time. Sometimes they get caught in a snag, creating a hitch along the river. And how about if you block the movement of water by building a dam or dropping more sand in the river or dredging sand out of the river? All of this is going to change how fluids flow. And I chose a river because all the channels in acupuncture are considered waterways. So taking the Columbia River and mapping it onto our body, think of rheumatoid arthritis and the nodules that are created in the joints of the hands and the feet. And one way the nodules may form would be like snags in a river. As more and more debris gets caught in the nodules get bigger and bigger. Nodules in Chinese medicine are usually phlegm because they're formed by changes in how fluids move in the body. Many types of lumps and bumps in the body can be phlegm in Chinese medicine. From lymphomas to cysts to fibroids, all of these can be phlegm in the body. Now they can be, but they don't have to be. And one way this phlegm is created is the same way that a snag is formed in the Columbia River. But that's not the only way phlegm can form in the body. Think about swelling. Any abnormal swelling of the stomach, the hands, the feet, the eyes, and the neck. The fluids, they're stuck and they can't move. So just like a river that stops moving, things start to form in the water. more algae grows, things die, and stay where they are instead of being cleared out. As the water thickens with more stuff and it becomes murky and stinky, this would be considered phlegm. So what would be common signs of phlegm in the body? The characteristics would be thick, sticky fluids that smell like sweaty, stinky feet and armpits. Other signs of phlegm would be the thick discharge from the eyes, in the corner of your eyes after you sleep, or if you have excess earwax. So phlegm, it's a disruption of the flow of fluids in your body, and over time, that changing flow is going to cause the fluids to thicken. And sometimes these thickened fluids are an early notification, like the smelly feet and armpits, or the earwax, or the sleep in the eyes. So in some of the following episodes, I'll go over the common causes of phlegm in Chinese medicine so you can decide if you want to change things, because without changes to your lifestyle, phlegm can become more severe, and Chinese medicine thinks that phlegm is a key component of every serious disease that we have in old age. So how do you know what to change if you don't know what causes phlegm? And that's going to be in one of my next episodes. Yet, as these body fluids get thicker and thicker, they can have disease names in Western medicine like goiter, gallstones, kidney stones, high cholesterol, ascites, lipoma, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, cancer. Even though phlegm can be part of each of these diseases and commonly is, it doesn't have to be. There's always that unique individual who defies all odds and comes up with the uncommon diagnosis. Now, I mentioned earlier that phlegm is usually one of the key causes of all the serious diseases we get as we age. And I believe I mentioned cancer earlier. Well, you know what? You can add in hypertension, strokes, and heart attacks to that. And I bet you didn't know that phlegm is usually a root cause for dementia, dizziness, and obesity, the three key causes of lack of independence as we age. And phlegm doesn't always come from something you're doing. Like a dam built across a river, sometimes phlegm comes from an external source like an accident or a surgery. These events, they can create scar tissue in the body that stops or slows down the fluids from moving in the injury location. And the ones I see most often in clinic are car accidents, the after effects of a frozen shoulder or shoulder surgeries, C-sections. Those are injuries you usually have to manage because they can get worse and worse. I bet you're starting to get the idea that you don't want phlegm in the body. Or if you can't get rid of all phlegm, because you usually can't, at least you don't want the more severe phlegm. So in a later episode, I'm going to go over some of the things that you can do to break up phlegm in the body. So you're starting to get the idea of what Chinese medicine considers phlegm in the body. And part of phlegm is visible, like earwax, sleep in the eyes, lymphomas under the skin. Another type of phlegm is invisible, like abnormal swelling in the body, like your hands, feet, or abdomen. This invisible phlegm can cause things like obesity, dementia, and dizziness. In Chinese medicine, only those things that can damage the flow of body fluids can cause phlegm. On the scale of damage to body fluids, Chinese medicine considers phlegm the most severe change. To body fluids and left unattended may cause those diseases that are most difficult to treat in older adults. And here's the thing. If you've been watching the various episodes on this channel, you probably realize that one drop of rain isn't significant. But one drop of rain in a rainstorm and over time created the Grand Canyon. The body has this tremendous ability to regenerate, especially if you don't leave it in a rainstorm. When you hit 50, your regeneration powers dim and things start showing up, and instead of being able to make small changes, you may get stuck making large changes. Yet, suppose you can understand what type of impact your choices may have on your body. In that case, you can start to figure out modifications that may improve your overall health without causing significant inconvenience. If you start making those changes earlier in life,
you have a much better chance of not having to do large changes later in life.
Okay, guys, until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.